Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Aunty Andrea's Reading Corner. I'm your delightful host, Andrea, and welcome to the evening of October 26th. I I said I was going to start a new book tonight, and I am going to. But first things first, I just wanted to do a few little shout outs. First, I'm sorry my face isn't all done up and beautiful for you guys, as I normally would do. I had a fantastic weekend. I don't know if you saw the pictures I posted online. Hey Dan, good to see you, honey. Welcome. What a weekend. I had such a fucking good time. I can't even tell you. Okay, so my beautiful friends, Fez and Debbie, they just as a backstory, they were supposed to get married back in March, but then COVID hit, so they had to postpone it, which they did to what would have been this weekend. Well, anyway, obviously COVID didn't come to the end that we hoped it would by now. So again, they had to postpone. Hey, Joe, good to see you, honey. Welcome. And so, anyway, they had to postpone, and it just broke all our hearts. I mean, they've had the worst run of luck too. And I mean, I don't believe in luck. I really don't. But they've just had these circumstances that have just been incredibly unfortunate. And you know what? So me and my brother and our dear friend Vicky, who's known Debbie since they were like 7 or something. I've known Debbie since I was 12. Brent, since he was about 14 or something. Hey, Derry, nice to see you, hon. And so, yeah, we are old school friends for real. And we said, fuck that. Let's get in the car. Let's go up and see them and have a really good weekend anyway. And that's exactly what we did. Damn the snow, damn all that shit, all the warnings and everything else. And everyone said we were crazy. But we waited out Friday because Friday was crazy. It was bad. They actually shut down the highway. So I think that was the universe saying, don't do that today. Today would be stupid. But I was up at 5:20 Saturday morning, got my shit together, packed up, went and grabbed Brett and Vicky. We had a great drive up. A bit dodgy on the connector. That's Delilah. She just ate, so she's got extra energy. Anyway, yeah, the connector was a bit dodgy, but, I'm a smoking good driver, and I got us there very, very safely. I'll even quote Vicky. She even said at one point, Andrew, you're a really good driver. I was like, I know, right? So 7 years in Nova Scotia helped a lot, living in the countryside where it snowed a lot. So anyway, and we had the best visit. I mean, I haven't laughed that hard. It's been a long time. I mean, especially in that context where it was all just us old pals. We used to hang out all the time, going for coffees, hanging at our house in the basement with a pool table and drinking and smoking, walking out to our fat beats and just having, just like that, just hanging out and laughing and talking and sharing and just having those guttural laughing moments where you just laugh, you're making each other laugh harder. So anyway, as a result, my voice is actually quite rough. You can't tell because I just washed my face and that kind of helped a bit. But I've been laboring all day with my voice. So I am going to read a bit of the book, but I'm not going to do the full read tonight because I really want to save my voice and then I'll continue on Thursday. But I am going to give you a wee taste so you can get a little sniff of what's to come. But anyway, so big shout out to Debbie and Fez and their beautiful kids, Summer and Logan. I had the best time with you guys. My brother, Brent, bro, that was just like old days. And Vicky, oh my God, your hair is just the best hair ever. You'll know what I mean by that. Vicky, I love you. We played, car games the whole drive back yesterday because the connector was even worse coming back. But you know what? We did it good. And so anyway, back home, safe and sound. We were barely there 30 hours, but it was a fantastic drive-by, comforting, heartwarming trip. Love you guys. So, who else? Oh, also special shout out to our dear old friend, another old school friend, Bill Anderson, turned 50 today. Can't believe it, Bill, but congratulations. Congratulations, as opposed to happy birthday. Just kidding. But no, happy birthday, brother. I hope you have a great day and an even better year ahead. Wish you all the best. Also, shout out to my brother who had his anniversary with his husband this weekend. And Vicky had her anniversary with her husband, 26 years. Ironically, neither of their spouses were with us, so but don't worry. That's no reflection of their connection. They're doing just fine. One last little shout out I just really have to squeeze in here. Earlier tonight, I got a call from my dear friend, Andrew Adamson, who I was saying happy birthday to last week, if you remember, or Drew, as I call him. Now, we had talked, last time we had one of our epic visits, we were talking and comparing notes and stuff, and he said, he goes, I wonder, do you know a Carolyn Daly, who was deputy chief of police back in kind of the time when my dad was a complete Vancouver policeman? So my dad was assistant to the deputy chief of police. And I said, well, and the name rings a bell, but a lot of names do. And he said, well, you should ask him, right? Well, I didn't ask because I like to be selective as to how I challenge my dad, where his dementia is getting kind of progressively worse all the time. So with things that go back a certain day, I just chose not to ask, right? Because I thought I didn't want him to feel bad or feel like he should remember. Anyway, I was bawling earlier. That's why I'm a little bit red-eyed, because Drew called me earlier, and he had a nice visit with Carolyn Daly, apparently. And he mentioned, hey, my friend Andrea, her dad was a police officer. Do you know him? And she goes, well, what's his name? And Drew says, because he's never actually met my dad, he goes, well, I don't know what his name is, but her name's Andrea Markham. And apparently she looks at him and she says, well, I'll tell you what, if his last name's Markham, then it has to be my brother John. And when he said that, I just instantly got teary, because I was like, he goes, is your dad's name John? I said, yeah, it is, John Markham. And he said, well, let me tell you, she remembers your dad really, really well. She said, he was a brother to me, and I love that man, and he's such a good person. She says, you tell your friend Andrea that she's my niece. I can consider her my niece, because that's how close we all were. And I'm sure I met her then, because we all knew each other then. And I just wanted to just say a shout out to Drew. Thank you so much for calling and telling me that, because it just warms my heart to know that all these years since my dad really hasn't seen any of his old buddies and stuff, because things have changed and he's changed. And it just warms my heart so much that someone remembers him so incredibly well and with such love and adoration for the man that he always was and still is. But he was that guy then. He was that character, that life in the room, that life of the party, the storyteller. That's where I get it from. And the humor and everything. So I love you. Thank you so much for calling to tell me that. And I will be definitely telling him, and I will definitely help jog his memory a little bit. So anyway, that's it for the shout outs, everybody. So I'm going to move on into the story. Like I said, I'm not going to read the full half hour that I would normally do, because I want to save my voice. I will continue it on Thursday. I've decided I'm not going to tell you the title. You will have to, some of you will just know by the introduction I'm going to read, and others of you will just, well, you'll just have to take the dangling carrot and wait for Thursday to eat the rest. So that's all I'm going to say for tonight. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend, and I hope that you'll enjoy this lovely book. I have a good feeling that you are going to. So without further ado, I'm going to read this one little introduction, and then I will bid you farewell. The chapter is called The Witching Hour. Sophie couldn't sleep. A brilliant moonbeam was slanting through a gap in the curtains. It was shining right on her pillow. The other children in the dormitory had been asleep for hours. Sophie closed her eyes and lay quite still. She tried very hard to doze off. It was no good. The moonbeam was like a silver blade slicing through the room onto her face. The house was absolutely silent. No voices came up from downstairs. There were no footsteps on the floor above either. The window behind the curtain was wide open, but nobody was walking on the pavement outside. No cars went by on the street. Not the tiniest sound could be heard anywhere. Sophie had never known such a silence. Perhaps, she told herself, this was what they called the witching hour. The witching hour, someone had once whispered to her, was a special moment in the middle of the night, when every child and every grown-up was in a deep, deep sleep. And all the dark things came out from hiding and had the world all to themselves. The moonbeam was brighter than ever on Sophie's pillow. She decided to get out of bed and close the gap in the curtains. You got punished if you were caught out of bed after lights out. Even if you said you had to go to the lavatory, that was not accepted as an excuse, and they punished you just the same. But there was no one out and about now. Sophie was sure of that. She reached out for her glasses that lay on the chair beside her bed. They had steel rims and very thick lenses, and she could hardly see a thing without them. She put them on, then she slipped out of bed and tiptoed over to the window. When she reached the curtains, Sophie hesitated. She longed to duck underneath them and lean out of the window to see what the world looked like now that the witching hour was at hand. She listened again. Everywhere it was deathly still. The longing to look out became so strong she just simply couldn't resist it. Quickly, she ducked under the curtains and leaned out of the window. In the silvery moonlight, the village street she knew so well seemed completely different. The houses looked bent and crooked, like houses in a fairy tale. Everything was pale and ghostly and milky white. Across the road, she could see Mrs. Rance's shop, where you bought buttons and wool and bits of elastic. It didn't look real. There was something dim and misty about that, too. Sophie allowed her eye to travel further and further and further down the street. Suddenly, she froze. There was something coming up the street on the opposite side. There was something black, something tall and black. Something very tall and very black and very thin. And that's all I'm going to share. Thank you for joining me. I hope I know you'll all clue in when you do at your random moments. I know you're probably not counting on me to come on until 7:30. I decided to be on time tonight because, quite frankly, I'm starving and I have a steak marinating. So I'm now going to cook that steak. And I'm going to binge watch the rest of Schitt's Creek if I can find the time, or at least some of it. Guys, just so you know, I'm season 3, episode 7. So I'm getting there. I mean, I'm not trying to tear through it necessarily, but I'm dying to know what all you guys were talking about this weekend. Like Fez kept saying, Andrea doesn't know, she doesn't know yet, don't say that. And I'm like, I'm holding up everybody's fun. But I'm not. We just found fun in other ways. But anyway, thanks all for joining me for this very brief little chit chat. Yeah, what's that? 20 minutes? That's all right for a little chat, a little monologue, a little bit of a tease. So have a lovely evening. Take care of yourselves and each other, as always. I love you all. Thanks for joining me. I hope you'll enjoy this tale. I have a feeling that you will. I actually watched the movie preemptively, and it's good. I think I'm going to enjoy this as much as I enjoyed all the rest. So I love you all. Have a lovely evening. Good night.